Hello guys, it is Teenage DC Fan back with another video, and I haven't been posting basically the past week, and that's because I'm on vacation, and my vacation actually ends today, so that's why I'm starting to upload again. So I'll be back to regular uploads. I'm going to be uploading more videos this week, mostly because I didn't do the videos for last week, so I have to catch up on the reviews. And the reviews from last week, I'm kind of doing them out of order, but I'm starting off with Legends of Tomorrow. So this episode was called Seance and Sensibility, and this was honestly the best episode of the season. There was so much sex in this episode. I think that's what I loved so much about it. um, so yeah, I mean, the show's still not great. Like, it's not really a good show. I still don't really care for it. But this was a good episode. So let's get into the review. But I'm going to start off with the non-sexy parts because go from boring to best, I guess. So that's what I'll do. So I'll start off with the boring parts, I guess, that actually have to do with the overall story of the season. So it is the funeral for Hank, Nate's father, and everybody's there, but then some of them get called away. All of them except Nate, Constantine, and Mick go to try and fix a time anomaly, or there's a time fugitive or something like that. So then they stay there. Constantine figures out that Hank's ghost is there, haunting the funeral, kind of. And Nate doesn't care. He's just mad at his father. But then Nate is going to give a speech, and he's about to reveal all of his father's dirty secrets. But then the lights start flashing, and then Nate realizes that he can't reveal all that stuff for reasons, and so then he doesn't. But then upstairs, or wherever, Constantine holds a seance, and he, like, summons Hank's ghost into Mick's body, and, so Mick's basically being used as, like, a lab rat, or, like, a puppet in this situation, and so then Hank is in Mick's body, he explains everything, and then so Hank explains everything. He basically says that that he was killed by a demon, and he explains how, like, he was working with Neron and stuff. And then Constantine's like, "Oh, Neron, I know him. Yeah, he's like my arch enemy and stuff like that." And then he looks in the mirror, and then he sees the guy. I forgot his name, but he's basically that guy that Constantine was having sex with, and he had to sacrifice his soul to Neron to stop him. But when it actually made Neron stronger, because the Neron took over his body and stuff, it's really confusing. So now Constantine is like, "Oh no, Neron's back," and stuff like that. So yeah. And then Nate wanders into a secret room or something, and then he sees a video that was made by Hank, and he basically finds out that that Hank's father was doing it, so was kidnapping the magical creatures, because when Nate was a little kid, he made a drawing of an amusement park where people could go to see all these magical creatures. And Hank was trying to make that a reality. So I thought that was really sweet, and that was pretty cool. Um, but that was pretty much it for that. Um, Now into some more interesting stuff. So everybody thinks that Nora did it, and um, then Ray goes to the bath in the bathroom, and then he looks in the mirror, and Nora's there. Then they start talking, and she's like, "I'm not the one that killed him," and he's like, "Oh, thank goodness," because obviously he didn't really think that she did it, and he's in love with her. Um, so then he decides to take her to the ship, and then basically they hang out, I guess, and he says there could be like a sleepover or something, and she likes that because she wants to have sex with him. Uh, him, who knows? Because then, like, he's like, since you're my guest, you can have the bed and I'll sleep on the couch. And then she's like, well, it's a big enough bed. Why don't we just sleep together? So then he's like, okay. So then they get in bed together, and they're kind of just laying there. And then I don't know if Ray gets nervous or something, but he just freaks out and he's like, "You know what? You're my guest. I don't want to intrude. I'll just sleep on the couch. It's probably more comfortable." Um. So yeah, I didn't get that because I mean, if she wants to have sex with you, then you have sex with her. Um. So that was kind of confusing because I wouldn't have done that. I mean, if she wants sex, give her sex. Um. Yeah, so anyway, that nothing really happened there, but on to some more sucky stuff until we get into the really good stuff with Zari. I used to hate Zari, but now I really love her character. Um, so they go back to a time where there's this writer, and I forgot her name because I don't pay attention to this show that closely. But then they go to this, um, when they first get there, so they're like, it's like when a time period where like all the ladies were wearing like bonnets and like dresses and stuff like all the time. Um, so then Mona's bonnet fell off. So then Zari went to go get it, but then she fell right in front of um, a carriage that was being driven by horses. And then the guy that was like controlling the horses and stuff got off, and he he showed interest in her. She showed interest in him, and then the ladies, of course, were so like she's there with Mona, Sarah, and Charlie. So then the ladies are like, "Ooh, you like him, don't you?" and stuff like that, because yeah, it's just girl stuff. Um, I'm gonna go through this pretty quickly just so I can get to the sexy parts because let's be honest, that's the best parts of this episode. Um, so then they go to this wedding where that writer is. I think her name is Jane, actually. Um, and Mona knows all about her. And then the bride starts walking down the aisle, and then she gets halfway in, and then she yells over to the groom, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I can't marry you because I'm in love with someone else." And then she says who it is, and it's another lady, and then that lady like pops up out of somewhere, and she's like, "Oh, I love you too." Then she runs into her arms, and they start making out, and it's kind of weird, and everybody's freaking out. And then the groom is like, "That's quite all right because I'm in love with someone else, your mother." So then he starts making out with the mother of who he was going to marry, and then So then everybody's freaking out. They're like, what is happening? And then it basically turns into a sex fest. And everybody ends up on top of each other. Everybody's making out with each other. And it gets weird. But then they go to see this writer to interview her and find out about stuff, because she basically, the thing that went wrong in history is that she didn't end up writing the books and stories that she was supposed to. So they do some investigating and stuff to do that. And they send Zari off to go question the guy that was driving the carriage, because they want her to, well, have sex with him. And that's exactly what happens. So then she goes off to talk to him, and then they start making out, and then she finds out that he is the one that caused the time anomaly, and he was the time fugitive, and he's like the god of love or whatever, and he has like this magic dust stuff. And then they make out some more, but then the other legends show up, and then they take him into the ship, and then this is where things get good. So they lock him up. And then, of course, there's a vent right above the containment cell thing that he's in, and he's got that magic dust. So he blows it up into the vent, and then everybody starts to have romantic feelings. And of course, they're all dreaming, but it shows the sex, so I like it either way. So I guess we'll start off with Nora and Ray. They in their dreams, uh, basically, uh, Ray is awake or something, and then Nora wakes up, and he doesn't have a shirt on, and then he's like, I knew that you were hinting at something, so now I'm ready to give it to you. And then they get in bed, and he gets in bed with her, and then they just start having sex, and it's pretty good. And then we see Sarah is dreaming, probably about Ava. That's kind of sad, especially after their breakup. Then you see Charlie, and then I think Zari's the only other one that you see, because she's the only other one on the ship. And then she's having a threesome with that magic god guy, this guy, and Nate. So that was pretty hot. So yeah, definitely the best part of the episode. But then everybody wakes up and they realize what happened, and then Charlie says that she was doing it with David Bowie. So that's interesting. And then Zari goes into the room where the magic dude was, and then he basically persuades her to let him out, and then they use the magic dust on each other, because he's like, you're not adventurous enough, and you'll never feel love if you don't take a risk. So then they both take the magic dust, and then they go have some more sex, of course. They fall madly in love, and then they're like, hey, let's get married. And then there's this huge, long song and dance sequence between those two, and basically all of these legends, because then Sarah, Mona, and Charlie show up, and they just join in. And then, oh yeah, Mona. So she dreams about K- K- uh, Canope, Kunupe. I really have no idea how they said it. Um, Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to say that. Yeah, I still have no idea. Um, so anyway, Mona shows up and she's like, you don't want to do this and stuff. Basically convinces her, and then she informs Zari that this guy is actually married to like 1,000 people, 1,000 different people. So then she's like, you know what, we're not getting married, and something like that. Um, and then somehow everything goes back to normal, and then everything is all good. Uh, so there was some good sex in this episode. Like I said before, probably the best part about the episode. I'm starting to like Zari more. I still hate Mona. Super stupid and annoying. But I guess I'll just have to deal with her. Unless they kill her off, which would be amazing. Um, yeah, there was a part with her transforming into the werewolf again, but I didn't really want to take the time to talk about that because, well, I don't want to talk about Mona. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in my next video so I can bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.